This is Rob Tebbutt for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. Delighted to be joined by Lupus Uliai La Uliole Maliatoa, Joseph Parker, former WBO heavyweight champion of the world, coming to me from New Zealand. Joe, it's been a long time. How are you keeping, my friend?
Keeping very well. It's been a long time since we've last spoken, but it's good to see you. Everything's here is fine here in New Zealand. We're currently in lockdown, so we're taking this opportunity to spend quality time with the family before I leave again for camp for the next fight. But everything is good.
You're spending quality time with the family. I hear the wife has got you working, doing a bit of housework.
Listen, it's all part of the routine. You have to. I think in lockdown you have to have a routine. Wake up in the morning, you do the girls' breakfast, the kids, and then you train, and then at the end of the day, when it's time to clean up, I'm very good on the vacuum, very good on the mop, very good at wiping windows, like everything. Listen, just call me Cleaner Joe.
There's an interesting new nickname for you. We've been trying to give you a nickname for a couple of years now. We had, what did we have? Sleepy Joe. What was the other ones that we had over the years when we were trying to give you a nickname?
There's one in New Zealand, Explosive Joseph, Jurassic Parker, something like that. I don't know.
I like that, Jurassic Parker. That's a good one.
My good friends.
Yeah, that's a decent one. Anyway, right, before we come on to talking about this past weekend, obviously a big incident in the heavyweight division, let's talk about yourself. Recently, we had your rematch with Chisora finalized for December the 18th. I just want to go back to the first fight. I've not spoken to you since the first fight. Let's start off with it. How did you find your performance? What did you make of your performance on the night against Chisora?
Truthfully, the performance was okay. Always good to get the win at the end of the of the match, get your hand raised. But if I look at the performance, it wasn't the most dominant, and it was a very close fight. He came out and gave it everything he had. I gave it what I had at that time, and it was a close fight. A lot of people said it could have went his way. A lot of people said I deserved the win, and a lot of people said it could have been a draw. So I feel like the rematch is good because it's going to give me the opportunity to show a better performance. I have to put on a better performance, to move on to bigger and better fights. But this is sort of the telltale of what I've been working on and how the next camp will be.
It was obviously the first fight that you'd worked with new trainer Andy Lee. How did you feel the dynamic worked on the night? And obviously, I know you didn't have a lot of time to work together beforehand. We came up to see you in Tyson's gym. How did you feel the first fight under the new training dynamic went?
I thought it went well. I mean, it's never the plan to get knocked down in the beginning of the fight, but we were able to get back up and continue on. And I felt like the time that we did have to train together, with Andy Lee in Ireland and then in Morecambe in the UK. I felt like in that short time, I, changed or adjusted a few things and showed a lot of improvements. I feel, from when I changed training teams and the whole thing, and moving to another country, setting up a new camp, a new schedule, a new program, a new team. And so I feel like a longer time with Andy, I'll be able to cement those skills a lot better, if I keep practicing them and keep working on them, then I can show it in the next fight.
Obviously, you're in New Zealand now. You're in lockdown. What's the plan? When are you coming out? When are you coming? Are you going to go to Ireland first with Andy? Obviously, Andy's in Vegas at the minute with Tyson, or he's going to be in Vegas with Tyson. What's the plan for you over the next month or so with your training schedule?
The plan at the moment is leave New Zealand next week for Vegas and be a part of just the big heavyweight fight that's going to happen soon, Fury and Wilder. It's going to be a bit of a buzz, and leave, go to the fight, be part of the atmosphere, then leave and leave with a good buzz, and then move up to the UK, move up to Morecambe. I'm not able to get into Ireland at the moment because of visa. You have to, in New Zealand everything's locked down, so I'm not able to get in there and work on getting a visa for Ireland. But the UK is going to be where we're going to be based for the next 10 weeks.
Okay, that'd be great. So I'll catch up with you sometime soon, I'm sure. Going back to the Chisora fight now, something that myself and you have spoken about over numerous years now. Myself, you, your former trainer, Kevin Barry, your new trainer, Andy Lee, even when we came up to see you in Morecambe, is that killer instinct. Now, after the fight, Andy was very open. He said that he felt that there was opportunities there for you to close the show against Derek Chisora. That we also saw Derek. We know what Derek's going to do. His physicality give you some problems, certainly in the early rounds of the fight. What do you make of that? Is that something that you still need to work on? You're kind of at the, with all due respect, you're not a young man anymore. You're certainly not past your best, of course, but is it something that maybe is just not part of your makeup? What do you think of that?
The killer instinct. There's ways of working on it, and I guess if I really want to be, if I really want to have another go at being champion of the world again, I have to show something different. That's the truth. I have to show a better performance in this rematch. I need to show a better or killer instinct, and then I need to finish fights off or finish guys off. That's what I need to do. To work on it, I'm not sure what it takes to work on it, but I guess it's just the training, practicing it, inspiring, practicing it. When I'm punching the back, everything is just about practicing every day.
Did you feel you had the opportunities to get rid of Derek Chisora there? And we saw him hurt on a number of occasions. If so, why weren't you able to do it? Why weren't you able to close the show?
I don't know. Listen, I'm trying to figure that out myself. I did have after the fight, I had an injury. My elbows were swollen. I couldn't move my arm, but I'm not sure. Maybe in that time, I don't know. Listen, I have no idea, no answer to that.
How is, before we move on, how is your elbow? I know that's been a long-standing thing that you've had to manage. You've had numerous surgeries in the past. How is that?
I think it's good. Well, at the moment, it's not giving me a lot of problems. I did have the surgery on my arms before the junior fight, and then was fighting through the inflammation and then the pain, and then with the Chisora fight, it got a bit worse. But I feel with the time that I've had to rest it, even though I'm training every day and punching and doing weights here and there, but I'll remember to give it a lot more rest. So it should be 100% for when we start camp.
You have to be careful while you're pushing the vacuum around the house, Joe. Not too much. Use the good elbow.
Left.
Okay, let's talk about this past weekend. Obviously, Anthony Joshua losing his unified heavyweight titles in emphatic fashion to Alexander-Usyk. Just first and foremost, what were your overall thoughts of the fight?
Usyk put on a clinical performance. It was the movement, the footwork, changing it up, the feints, everything. It was just one of those performances where he ticked all the boxes, right? And he put on a great display. Joshua, being the champ, didn't really have a lot of answers. A lot of people that have fought Usyk in the past have said that he's a special fighter. So it'll be interesting to see if Joshua can make those adjustments and changes in the rematch.
Were you surprised with how the fight went down? I didn't speak to you before, and I didn't grab your prediction beforehand, so I'm not too sure what you said. But were you surprised with how the fight unfolded?
A little bit. I think I was a little surprised. I thought it would be. It wasn't like a 50-50 fight. It was more more Usyk. I thought it was going to be 50-50. I thought Josh would be the natural heavyweight, would be able to take it out, but I was wrong.
You obviously fought Anthony Joshua a number of years ago. There seems to be this perception that Anthony Joshua is no longer the same fighter after the first Ruiz fight. Considering what we saw this weekend with him against Alexander-Usyk and being an ex-opponent of his, do you agree with that? Do you feel that he's changed as a fighter?
I'm sure he's made adjustments, and I think he just fought the wrong fight with Usyk. He fought the right fight with Ruiz the second time around, boxing and moving and getting the point, beating him on points. I think with Usyk, it was quite hard to outbox someone like Usyk, whose boxing level and IQ is very high.
Do you think we see a rematch next? And if so, how do you think it goes?
I think we do. I think Usyk comes in with a lot more confidence, and he'll be able to pick up on things he didn't do as well in the first fight, and he'll work on them. I feel Joshua will, if he can make the adjustment and changes, it'll be a lot more competitive fight. But I don't know, maybe Usyk, eh?
A lot of the talk going into the fight certainly was about Alexander-Usyk's size. He's now beaten one of what people consider to be the big three heavyweights, with him, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury. Do you think he's big enough to beat the likes of Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury? Have we seen that this past weekend? Do we have to kind of disregard talk about the size from now on?
Yeah, he showed that he's a small heavyweight, and he showed that a small heavyweight with the right game plan, with movement, speed, and just everything that he did, you know, it can be done. So us smaller heavyweights, I still got a lot to work on, but the smaller heavyweights can conquer.
That's sort of where I was going to go next with it, really. Obviously, you were a former heavyweight champion yourself, so not necessarily needing to take anything from that, but it does give something to the little man. The little man, you're still massive, but still, everybody's been talking about these giants, the 240, 250-pound heavyweights, or Fury and obviously Andy Ruiz at times heavier than that. But it does give some confidence to the smaller guys in the division that with the right game plan and you execute it on fight night, you can beat these big giants.
Most definitely. It gives the smaller heavyweights a lot of confidence. Just seeing someone like that, I mean, it's quite incredible how he, the cruiserweight division, unifying that. And then third fight into the heavyweight division, he's unified champion of the world, So it's quite an incredible story.
It certainly is. You mentioned beforehand you're going to be in Las Vegas next week, Fury Wilder 3. It feels like an absolute eternity ago that the rematch happened, but we are here for the trilogy bout. I know you're very close with Tyson Fury. How do you see that one playing out next weekend in Las Vegas?
I'm excited for it because there's a lot of changes in the Wilder camp. He's got Malik Scott as his head trainer, and Malik is a student of the game. He studies it every single day or anytime that he gets. So we've seen little snippets of Wilder, changing it up with training, speed, movement, body punches. But I still feel Fury would have too much for him. And then Fury's taking it very seriously with his team. I'm excited to see it.
You mentioned Malik Scott there. Now, ironically, the first time I met you, Malik Scott was part of your team when you came over for the Dillian White fight. And a lot of people, I don't know, I feel like there's this perception that Malik Scott is a yes man of Deontay Wilder, which I don't necessarily agree with. What can you tell us? You mentioned there about him being a student of the game. What can you tell us about what he'll bring to Deontay Wilder's training team? Obviously, he's somebody who's so vastly experienced.
He's got a lot of experience being a fighter himself. And then, he's, before training Wilder, he's been part of the camps. He's seen a lot of trainers. He's seen a lot of, he trains a lot of people in his off time, teaching him this and teaching him that. So I feel he'll bring some valuable, sort of teachings to Wilder's, game plan for this next fight.
What does Deontay Wilder need to do different in the trilogy, Joe, if he's going to be successful? What does he need to do in the third fight that we didn't see in the second or even the first fight?
Pick his shots. We already know that he's got that big right hand, and well, I mean, he's got power in both hands, but he needs to pick his shots. And Fury's a hard man to catch, with his size and with his reach, and with his awkwardness and movement, and chasing you down. So I think he just has to pick his shots and throw a lot of shots, a lot more shots,
So when you're over in the UK, if I had 1 pint of, obviously outside of your training camp, if I was going to bet you a pint of beer, who would you bet it on next week, and what would be the outcome? Wilder Fury 3. Who would you bet it on?
I would pick Fury stoppage.
Do you think he gets it done quicker than the second fight? Do you think it goes longer? Do you think Wilder's going to be more dangerous than the second fight?
I feel like Wilder's going to be more dangerous, and I feel, Wilder's very upset when the towel was thrown in. So I'm sure his team are going to be told, no one's throwing in the towel, no one's stopping the fight. He's going to go out on his feet. So I feel it's going to be stopped around the same round.
Okay, and if that is indeed the case, it obviously leads us to Tyson Fury versus Alexander-Usyk. We've been talking about undisputed for years and years and years at the minute. We've still not bloody seen an undisputed fight. But let's say, for argument's sake, the stars align and we get to see Tyson Fury versus Alexander-Usyk for all the marbles. Who wins that one?
Tyson Fury.
Why?
Tyson Fury. Again, natural heavyweight. But I guess he's also got very good movement for a big guy, and he can change it up. He can go forward, go back. He throws different punches. He's elusive. I feel he'll take it out.
Okay, right. Just want to grab your opinion on
Who
one.
do you feel? Who do you?
It's not up to me, Joe. I'm asking the questions, not you. You sit there and go get your feather duster and let me ask you the questions. Let me ask you one. The final fight I want to talk to you about is again another one of your ex-opponents in Dillian White against Otto Wallin, which was a very surprising fight. Came a little bit out of the blue. I'm excited for that one. What do you think happens on October the 30th when those two face off?
I think Wallin is a fighter who is going to show a lot coming into the Dillian White fight. I mean, he showed a lot in the Fury fight, and a lot of people thought he was going to get stopped, but he showed courage, skill, and I feel like that's an exciting fight. That's another exciting fight that we should look forward to, because it was one of those matches that no one thought was going to happen. But Dillian White's always going to come prepared, and he's training real hard. So I don't know. I'm not sure on that one.
Come on, you can't sit on the fence on that one, Joe. You're not allowed to. I'm allowed to. You're not.
Yeah. I'll go with White, but 50-50.
Okay, fair enough.
That? White, but 50-50?
White, but 50-50. White, but it's a close
fight.
We'll let you off.
55-45.
Okay, there we go. Right, before I let you go, obviously, I'm sure after the first fight, you're not going to be looking past Derek Chisora. That's not your job, but it is my job. So what would you like next? Obviously, now we've got a new champion in Alexander Usyk. You're well ranked with the WBO, as you always have been, obviously being their former champion. There's Joe Joyce out there. There's the likes of Filip Hrgovic who's looking for a fight. What next for you after Derek Chisora, obviously provided that you're successful on December the 18th?
Provided that I'm successful and get a good win over David Chisora, I don't really care who's next. I mean, there's the Joe Joyce fight that he's sitting there, and he had some great performances as of late, and he's highly ranked in WBO, so that'll be a good fight if we could make that happen straight after.
You got the camps are quite familiar as well, because obviously Joe's been based out in America at times. I know Sam Jones and your ex-trainer Kevin Barry used to share Guido Vianello as trainer and manager, so I think that'd be quite good. You obviously throw David Higgins in the mix, and it's always an interesting time. I think that'd be an interesting little build-up, wouldn't it?
It'll be an interesting build-up. I mean, he doesn't say a lot and doesn't talk a lot of crap. I'm probably the same, so it'll be interesting that because there's not really much to say. Like, just get on with it.
There'll be David and Sam at the top table.
It'll be David and Sam going at the top table. We'll just be like, settle down, guys.
I can maybe do a 6-rounder on the undercard.
Listen, that's not a bad idea, too.
I like it. Who's picking in that one?
Higgins.
You've got to pick Higgins because you're going to see him soon. Okay, right, Joe, before I let you go, the final word I'm going to leave with you about your fight with Derek Chisora. How does that fight end? Obviously, Andy Lee is going to be watching this interview, so I think you better make it a very convincing, conclusive win for Joseph Parker. Just my opinion, but
Hello, Andy, if you're watching this. Andy's a top trainer, a top man, good family man. How do I win this fight? The first fight was a good, hard fight. I let him off a few times, but this time I'm not going to let him off, and I'm going to get him out of there. Okay. That's what I have in my head, but, come fight night, I should show it.
Okay, well, we look forward to seeing that on December the 18th. Joseph Parker, Toa, thank you very much for speaking to Boxing Social. Always a pleasure catching up with you, my friend. Now go and finish your chores before your wife tells you off, and I will catch up with you soon.
Thank you very much.